What's something we should bring back from the 1920s for the 2020s? Those striped men's bathing suits. I knew a dude who had one of those. Dude was a 300-pound alcoholic, so it was a sight. Railways as the main form of transportation. Welcome to Europe. Except when going from country to country. When is that EU net coming? Art Deco buildings, and well-built craftsman houses. I just realized the craftsman house down the street from me is getting to 100 years old. Giant, extravagant parties that last for weeks. Those already exist, you just aren't being invited to them, monsieur. Yeah, poor people weren't going to those in the 1920s, either. Big bands playing at dance halls. If you live in a decent-sized city, that almost certainly already happens near you. It's really unfortunate that much of jazz is relegated to background music in restaurants. I can't find anywhere near me that has decent jazz. It's either places saying they're jazz lounges then playing hip-hop club music, or it's just a dive that has live music, and if I'm lucky once a month they have jazz. Not economic failures due to excessive spending. I've got a spoiler for you about the 1930s. Does that mean we got to get ready for Gen Z Hitler? The cost of college, a house, and a new car. Actually being able to afford a house in my lifetime would be great, lol. Be careful what you wish for. Those boomers did not maintain their homes. Every home on the market in my area needs a new roof, new heating and cooling, new windows, new electrical, new everything. And they'd still like you to pay $300,000 for it. Thank you very much. Flappers, with gams or getaway sticks, gams, hats, and those long coats. You mean trench coats. Social dancing. I've gone swing dancing a few times with a friend, so there's still a scene for it if you're interested. Legal cocaine. Shut this thread down, boys. We got a winner. Swing music and dancing. 3 cents a gallon gas. In 1920, gas cost 30 cents a gallon, which $3.86 in 2019 dollars. I bought gas yesterday for $2.39 a gallon, down to $1.99 a gallon here in Dallas. 23 Skidoo. Having cops who look at you and tell you to just go home when you're drunk as and you've spent many a nickel at the club and want to fight the first guy who looks your way because your woman just cheated on you with an old school friend. That is oddly specific. I think bringing back the fashion with just a few minute tweaks would be the bee's knees. The slang. https://bestlifeonline.com 1920s slang. Okay, Father Time. The style and fashion would be nice. Speaking of fashion, daily life would be so much less dull if we weren't socially restricted to only wearing the style of our era. Although social restriction is literally the reason why fashion develops in the first place. Lol. Honestly, the fashion trends of this decade are way more diverse than the 1920s. You can wear whatever you want, like just sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and even wearing more fashionable outfits means you have way more options than wearing big dark suits with overcoats and a hat. Flapper fashion, but with a modern twist. Heroin cough syrup. Heroin, the non-addictive alternative to morphine. The roaring. Nobody roars anymore and it's sad. Roar XD. Oh no, that kind of roar-a-woo. My knowledge of the decade is very slim and almost entirely based on The Great Gatsby. That being said, let's all drink like crazy and party like they did in the Roaring Twenties. Hey Gatsby, don't let your insane married girlfriend drive drunk. Music, and the dancing. Most people working where they live no longer commutes. I recently took a job about 15 minutes from home, the closest I've ever been. Before now I've always said, I don't mind the drive. It's a nice way to prepare for the day and unwind at the end. I can listen to books and podcasts. Turns out it was lie I told myself. Working in the same city is the best. Art Deco, Jazz BC, it's good. Speakeasies and the Charleston. Right, I do an amazing Charleston and it's a wasted talent. Come on, 20s. Dressing up nice in public. Looking at you. People who wear pajamas to the mall. I saw a woman in her mid-20s wearing a bathrobe at a coffee shop yesterday. I've never seen a person wear a bathrobe outside of the house before. The dude abides. Man, I want to bring back the casualty of wearing suits and ties. Boy, it was so long ago, but the style was amazing. I wish I could wear a suit and tie normally wherever I go. To the movies, yaha. Even to water theme parks there are no longer any more restrictions. You can. Businessmen in many major cities do, at least in finance and law. No one is stopping you. A stronger and united Germany. Flagpole sitting. Because why the not? https://n. Monsieur. Wikipedia. Wiki. Pole_sitting. I had visions. I was in 'em. I was looking into the mirror. Tommy guns. Just joking. The Second Amendment covers machine guns and cannons. It very much protects my right to mail order a Tommy gun. So many people are mentioning clothing styles, parties, music genres, and types of dance. You all realize that there's nothing stopping you from doing any of that now, right? Suits and fedoras. You mean the proper attire for fedoras? Yes. And the Art Deco suits. I refuse to wear a fedora if I'm not in a suit. Sequin skirts. And classy curly hairstyles. Radioluminescent paint, but based on the newer technologies. Not just for watch dials, but for everything that needs to be visible at night. Stairs, cars, bicycles, road markings, and signs. Old-time boxing with that announcer voice. A 100th anniversary model, a reproduction. Lavish parties out on Long Island's Gold Coast full of liquor, drugs, and hot women. And we should drive there in old cars, past an optometry billboard and call each other old sport. Monopoly, oligarchy busting. Have actual competition in the market. If you're too big to fail, then you're too big to exist. The socialist political movement, like Eugene Debs' strong workers' unions. Let's bring back knowledge of how to use apostrophes. For example, 1920's means belonging to the specific year or number 1920. 1920's, on the other hand, refers to the span of years between 1920 and 1929. The same thing is true for abbreviated dates. 20's means belonging to the specific year or number 20. In order to correctly use the apostrophe with an abbreviated date, it needs to go where other numbers have been removed. Believe it or not, 20's is actually a contraction. Remember, apostrophes almost never pluralize. The only exceptions are when you're referring to single letters or when you're pluralizing acronyms that contain both uppercase and lowercase letters. Most of the time, apostrophes are used to show possession by nouns. This is my grandmother's jackhammer, would be an example of a correctly used apostrophe. If the possession is attributed to a plural noun, then the apostrophe goes after the S. I took my parents' car out for a ride, but a ferret ran me off the road. Apostrophes can also be used in contractions, as we mentioned before. Did not becomes didn't, with the apostrophe showing where the letter O has been removed. Some contractions can even include more than one apostrophe, like with I shouldn't have used an apostrophe to pluralize a noun. You can even use both kinds of apostrophes at once. This piece of knowledge was the 20's greatest gift to the world at large. That can sometimes seem a little bit ambiguous, though, so it's usually better to avoid contractions when a possessive quality is being indicated. This piece of knowledge was the 1920's greatest gift to the world. In the end, apostrophes are pretty simple to use. Just keep in mind that they don't mean, oh, here comes an S. Till. Silent films, hopefully. I wish more of them were made. We need a modern-day Chaplin figure. So this is weird and only tangentially related, but I work at a bar and often watch movies on silent while they play in the background on the bar TVs with no volume, especially when it's slow. Some movies are snorefests without sound, some are actually super compelling. I noticed that Hostiles, in particular, was really interesting, and I always like playing that one, because it was so beautiful to just watch. I must have watched it 2 or 3 times before I heard it for the first time. Definitely not Prohibition. I've always wanted to see an iceberg. Unions, direct action, active socialist and communist parties, the Charleston, moonshine. It's always been here. You just have to know the right people. Class, wearing a suit wherever you went out and not wife beater, shorts and flip-flops. I've always loved electro swing. I have a hunch that it'll be a big hit. I've been listening to it for a long time now. I've always liked jazz and swing as well as electronic music. music, so the fusion of the two is really great. It's been around long enough though that I don't think it's going to become any more popular than it already is. I wish it would though. Dancing. Food prices. Mister, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again. The music. Only remade versions. And hello, flapper, Gatsby-esque fashion, pin-curled, finger-waved hairstyles with skull caps, diamond barrettes, long ropes of pearls down to the knees, spectator Mary Janes, zoot suits, fedora hats, classic model Fords, Art Deco and Opium Monsieur.